Alright, hello and welcome back. Today we're going to patch up some drywall in the ceiling. Ignorantly enough, I forgot to record it, so I'm going to talk you through this first part. Step one, you got to put your drywall up there, so you're going to cut the drywall to size. You got to measure, be very precise. There'll be little gaps where the new drywall meets the old, and that's okay. But measure it out, mark it down on your new piece of drywall, and then just take a razor blade or a knife and cut it, score it, and then you should snap it back and it should cuts pretty easily. Then you're going to attach it using drywall screws to the studs. If you're using a ceiling and it's a heavy piece, you might want to use some help. Then after that you will joint compound in between all the seams, and then you put some drywall tape and press it up in those seams, and it should stick pretty good. You'll use a putty knife to thin out once you get that drywall tape up there. Use a putty knife to thin it out, go over it, and it should stick up there pretty good. Let that dry, put another thin coated mud up there, and here's where we pick up. Alright, got done with the first coat. Get your look back here, boom, 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 boom. I cannot stress enough thin coats. I mean, you still see some tape here, and that's okay. That's why we go over it again. So we'll go over it again. I'm going to let this set. I'll get overnight, kick it back up tomorrow. You can also see got in the screw holes there from the drywall screws. So we'll let it set. We'll do a light sanding to it. Very, very light. I actually use a wet sponge, I'll show you. And then we will come back and put another coat on it. After it is dried, you're getting ready for your second coat. You need to sand it down a little bit to get off the high edges. So, some people just use sandpaper. I like to damp sponge and use a knife. You're going to be using a nice sharp knife. You just kind of go across and hit off the high ends. Don't mess up the tape. Don't take the tape down. And then kind of go over it with the wet sponge to wipe it clean. Go with the tape, get off those high ends. Wipe it down. Go all the way across and do that. What you'll need next is your joint compound, painter's tray, or a mud tray, whatever you want to call it, and a 10 to 12 inch knife. So we go larger here. And the way I like to look at it is that you're playing an optical illusion on your eyeballs. So, whenever you use this wider knife, a lot of times you're going to hit uneven. These aren't going to be exactly even where you butted the drywall up to each other. So this long knife will help spread that out, and the spots where it's uneven, it will help them kind of flow and fill in, wide across it so it looks even. So it's kind of like playing a trick on your eyeballs. That's why you need a larger knife. Don't stick with the 6-inch one or anything like that. So, and this will be just like before. Wet it down, thin coats, and not wet it down. Get your joint compound on there, thin coats, and we'll go all the way across. This step, just like the first step, thin coats. And just throw it on here, cover it all up.
Just like we did before. Nothing more. Throw it up, there. Keep it trucking.
Throw it up. Keep them nice and thin. Limited sanding. That's the goal of this. And we'll come back. Got that there second coat done. So let it dry, and we'll go to a third coat. And let's see. And then it'll just be the same process. Take off the high ends with the sponge, and then wipe it down with the sponge, and then throw on a third coat. Now you may still have some tape kind of showing. I mean, and that's okay, because that third coat should cover that up. Nice. Okay, third coat. That's what we're rocking with now. I've already went back over it with my putty knife and sponge to sand it down just like I did before. Third coat should hopefully be your final coat. And what we do here is just like this last step. Now the only thing I do different is I kind of go real wide. So I've already done this area, which is kind of a different color there. And you should really have it pretty smooth with this. That's why I go cover a large surface area. You can see I covered this whole area right here. And it's just, I go long strokes, keeping it even, covering a big area. That way it kind of really thins it out and flows it to where it looks even. There's no slumps. Now you probably have, out here you'll have just a little bit of one, but we'll sand that off and it'll look good. So this should really clean up most of the imperfections that you have seen from the last
couple cuts. As you see, I covered this whole area. I just start back where I had before. And I just come in and keep it going down the line, get it even. If there ends up being a bubble
part that doesn't get even, then I go back over it lightly, very lightly. So get it on there. I go through quite a bit of compound on this last step just because I cover so much area. We'll really start flowing it over. Nice and even. Oh. Damn it, Samson! Asshole. So go through, do that, cover up, good area to help it transition. And then hopefully you only have really the only main parts of the sand. After this are really just the outer edges, hopefully. So do that, and that'll be your third coat. So third coat's up. I mean, it's hard to tell on here. I got a couple spots that you can see them kind of ridged there that you're gonna have to go over, but all in all, it is very smooth. So I had two pieces right here, so I just did the whole area. Let's go over to this side here. So this side, you can see how I probably went out an extra 3 inches on each side, probably. So, like I said, I go further out to help give me a longer area to smooth and have it transition. Third coat, we're actually going to sand lightly the raised edges. There will probably, it's only natural to have a couple, most likely around these edges here and all that, but let it dry and give it a light sand and you should be good to paint and prime. That's the last bit of the sanding. So I went over to get with my wide blade and then I have to go back over it. I hate to tell you, but you're going to have to go back over it with some sandpaper. It's a bitch. See how much sanding there is. Not fun. I hate doing it. It's my least favorite part. Probably want to cover it up. I didn't cover it up because either A, I wanted to show you fine people what it looks like, or B, I'm a retard. Also wear goggles, because I'm a retard. But you go over it lightly, and just over and over, and you want to smooth out the edges. You want to get these outside edges that you did, and you want to, smooth them out. That way it kind of looks like they just flow right into each other. So, this whole area I did not ever hurt my arm. So that's how light you got to go. Alright, last thing you want to do, wipe it down, towel, sponge, whatever, because it's going to be sandy up there. Damp it down and wipe it down. Then you can get on up there, prime paint. I'm not going to show a video of that, because if you need a video of that, then shoot yourself. So, that's it.